Hello, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests, and fellow advocates for change. Happy International Women's Day. My name is Nitesh Mirchandani, and I represent Mindsprint as its Chief Business Officer. Before we start today, if I could request all of the panelists to introduce themselves. Ancila?
Thank you, Nitesh, and thank you very much for having me here. I am the CFO and Company Secretary for MedAdvisor Solutions. I have been in the business over 2 years now, and I have been in the industry for over 25 years. My career has been driven by curiosity and passion. I have done a lot of diverse roles. I've worked in diverse sectors, but coming into technology has been the highlight of my career, and I'm looking forward to talking to you more about my journey. Over to you, Sarah.
Thank you, Ancila. And Nitesh and Ranjeeta, thank you very much for having us. I'm very excited to be here today. Sarah Sweeney, Senior Vice President for Global Marketing at MedAdvisor Solutions. I've been with the company for about a year, and I've been in the industry for about 20 years. I don't know exactly, but a long time. I've been driven by a passion for healthcare and technology, two very dynamic and important industries. And I've been very lucky along my professional journey, which has been quite a diverse road, and excited to talk more about that and how we can support women during International Women's Day. Thank you for having me. Ranjeeta?
Thank you, Sarah. My name is Ranjeeta Singh, and I'm part of the client services team at Mindsprint, and I work with a diverse set of clients within the healthcare and life sciences industry. Very excited to be here and excited to learn from you both and talking about how we can impact women and girls all over the world. Nitesh?
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for those introductions, and thank you for being a part of today's discussion. Today, we gather to celebrate the incredible achievements of women around the globe. Personally, women have played a pivotal role in shaping my life. To call out a couple, my mother, who is resilience at its best, and my wife, who is kindness at its best. Wanted to call those two out. We often have discussions on statistics, how many women occupy board positions, and how organizations with diverse leadership tend to outperform their peers. These figures are very important, but they merely scratch the surface of the deeper impact that gender equality can have, not just within organizations, but across communities and society as a whole. One of the most significant yet often overlooked benefits of gender equality is the introduction of varied leadership styles. Central to this vision is empowering the next generation, youth, particularly young women and adolescent girls, as catalysts for lasting change. How do we redefine social structures by ensuring inclusive access to education, employment, leadership, and decision-making spaces, fair opportunities for young women and girls to lead and innovate? By valuing collaboration, empathy, and inclusivity, we can redefine what it means to lead in today's world. The shift not only broadens our perspective on leadership, but also transforms how we recognize and cultivate talent at all levels within organizations. Today, we focus on the transformative power of diverse leadership and recognize the profound change it can bring to our workplaces and the world. It is an absolute honor, Ancila, Sarah, Ranjita, firstly, to know all of you and to work so closely with you in the recent months. And second, for having this conversation together. We appreciate the time you're creating, Ancila and Sarah, from your schedules and your mindshare for this discussion. And thank you, Ranjita, for co-moderating with me. Ancila and Sarah, it would be great to hear a little bit more about your career journey. How did you find your place as CFO, Ancila, and Sarah, SVP of Global Marketing? Would love to hear a little bit more about those journeys, Ancila and Sarah.
Oh, thank you. Now, I started my career in a very unexpected field, which was music. So I studied the violin and the guitar, and this discipline, the precision, the creativity, which I learned in music, has actually proved very invaluable when I transitioned into finance. I saw finance like music is all about finding patterns and telling compelling stories with numbers. Now, as I progressed, I found myself drawn into roles in logistics, medical devices, pharmaceutical manufacturing, which gave me a broader understanding of how business operates across all of these diverse sectors. But a turning point came to me when I pursued an MBA. That experience shifted my perspective from managing financials to actively shaping strategic business decisions. Now at MedAdvisor, I'm excited, really excited to combine my financial expertise with healthcare innovation, playing a key role in driving the company's growth and ensuring financial stability. Sarah?
Thank you, Ancila. Similar to Ancila, my career journey has definitely not been a straight and narrow path focused exclusively on traditional marketing. From the start, I've really been focused on using marketing as a way to drive the business forward, specifically relative to the bottom line, which has led me to a number of roles outside of marketing. For instance, within the last 10 years, I've held roles in solution design, sales, more recently investor relation. This breadth of experience in roles both within marketing and outside of marketing has given me a much deeper understanding how to support a business, how to drive a business forward holistically. I've always been interested in how different business functions can align to drive success more quickly, drive growth more effectively. And I think this diverse view, this holistic view of the business as a whole has helped me become a more effective leader, ensuring that marketing strategies align with more than brand, align more than beyond demand generation to support overall business objectives. And I've brought that knowledge with me into my role at MedAdvisor.
It was so wonderful to hear how you both have gotten to the stage in your careers that you have so far, Sarah and Ancila. This question is for both of you. In your experience, what has been the single most effective action that you've personally taken to accelerate your career growth? And was there ever a moment you felt as if you had to push through resistance? And how did you actually go about doing that? Sarah?
The most effective action I took to accelerate my career growth was stepping outside of my comfort zone and taking on roles that were new to me, roles that required me to adapt quickly and expand my skill set. I mentioned a moment ago that my marketing career path has been a little bit circuitous. For instance, I moved from a traditional marketing role to take on a role that had solution design and sales responsibility. That was a really significant shift for me. One that I was really uneasy about making, but in hindsight, it has provided me with invaluable insight into things like the buyer journey, the customer journey, the impact of solution delivery on our customers, and ultimately about the patient experience. When I first was approached about the opportunity to join the solution design team, I was nervous, but as I mentioned, I think that experience has made me a stronger marketer and a stronger business professional overall. In terms of pushing through resistance, there have been times throughout my career where I've faced varying levels of resistance. I think that's part of life and something we all have to become adept at managing. Managing through change and resistance requires a deep understanding, either initially or over the long haul, discipline and consistency, and probably most importantly, a willingness to listen, become familiar with alternative ideas and reactions. I've always believed that growth happens when you push yourself beyond the familiar. Ancila, any thoughts?
Thanks, Sarah. For me, I think the most effective action was committing to continuous learning and expanding my skill set, particularly by embracing technology. Early in my career, I encountered the challenge of being the only woman in the room, which required me to work a lot harder to make my voice heard. Now, instead of shying away, I focused on enhancing my experience and gaining confidence through knowledge. One pivotal moment was moving from the traditional CFO role to one where I had to take on a broader and more strategic view. I wasn't just managing finances and just looking at numbers. I was actually shaping the future of the business. To make this shift successful, I had to learn to embrace technology, stay ahead of trends that could impact on the business. And my perseverance and willingness to adapt to new challenges allowed me to navigate through resistance and to achieve growth in my career and my personal development.
Great perspectives, Ancila and Sarah. Thank you. And I think you all alluded to it a little bit in your answers to Ranjeeta's question. But if I can request you all double click, right? What are some of the most significant barriers to achieving women empowerment in your industry? And in your opinion, in your advice, how can we overcome them?
From my perspective, one of the significant barriers to women empowerment in our industry is the confidence. This gap in confidence, and this is shaped by societal norms from a very early age. Men are often encouraged to be outspoken and assertive, while women are not always given the same reinforcement. And this isn't inherently negative, but it can hinder career advancement and success in the workplace. To overcome this, we need to actively foster self-advocacy and assertiveness in both, in men and women, while promoting mutual respect. Creating a workplace that encourages diverse voices, provides mentorship, and challenges these outdated biases will help to ensure that confidence and leadership opportunities are now accessible to all. Sarah?
Thanks, Ancila. And it's a great question. Ancila and I actually have been talking about kind of the challenges that face women recently and how to overcome them, in part because of the discussion we're having today. A significant barrier to women's empowerment in many industries, including marketing, including finance, is the underrepresentation of women in leadership roles. I think that's fairly common knowledge. I recently read an article by McKinsey about the broken rung concept, which is a barrier women face when transitioning from entry-level positions to management roles. Research shows that, I believe it's for every 100 men that are promoted early on, only 85 women are promoted. I think this early gap is exacerbated over time for a number of reasons. We've made progress, but the pace of change slows women and accelerates as they are moving up the leadership pipeline. For example, in 2024, women represent less than 30% of senior executives in the C-suite, despite progress at lower levels. Leadership gaps remain, especially at the most senior levels. I agree completely with Ancila that overcoming these barriers requires, it's more than just hard work, it's more than determination. It's about being strategic about how you position yourself and your contributions, thinking very specifically about how to position yourself and your contributions. And as Ancila mentioned, mentorship. I believe mentorship is key. It's important to recognize that mentorship can come from many places, not just from other women, but also from men in the workplace and across the company. It's about building a strong network of advocates, sponsors, peer mentors who can help open the doors and provide guidance. I've been incredibly lucky throughout my career to have been mentored by a number of people that have just had an incredible impact on my career. And I think that's critical to the future.
You alluded, Ancila, to some skills, specifically having a level of self-confidence to progress and improve in your career. What other skills or qualities do you both believe are essential for women aspiring to either a CFO or a chief secretary or a global head of marketing roles like the ones that you hold?
So, adding to what Sarah had said initially, women in finance in particular make up about 46% of the workforce, but only 15% hold executive roles. So this is, this just stands out. You can look at that in any organization. In my experience, I'm often the only woman in the room at leadership events, which highlights this whole leadership gap that we have. And to change this, we really need to focus on both equipping women with key skills and creating more opportunities for advancement, like Sarah mentioned, with sponsorship, but also with some structural changes. And in my opinion, the essential skills and qualities for women aspiring at these leadership roles would be: one, you need to get your technical skills right. So, financial acumen, a strong grasp of financial management, reporting, and strategy. This is fundamental to any role. But in addition to that, strategic thinking, the ability to align financial and business strategies to drive growth and long term success. Adaptability is very important. So you've got to navigate through market shifts, leading through business transformation is very critical to leadership nowadays in any discipline, but finance more in particular. And then communication and influence. So storytelling and stakeholder management skills are key to driving buy-in and change in the business. But I'd always come back to this: the resilience and confidence, the ability to push through challenges, advocating for oneself, and to step into leadership roles, even in a male dominated space. So ultimately, empowering more women to reach these leadership roles requires both individual skill building, but also a systematic change in how organizations support, mentor, and promote women in finance. Sarah?
I couldn't agree more, Ancila. And I see a lot of similarities in the marketing industry as well. For women aspiring to leadership roles like a chief marketing officer or chief finance officer, resilience and adaptability are critical. The ability to navigate change, particularly in today's fast-paced digital environment, is essential. If you look at healthcare or technology, which we're in both, change is happening at an incredible rate, and being comfortable with that change and being flexible is critical. As Ancila mentioned, equally important are strong communication skills, not only to articulate a vision, move forward an idea, drive change, but also to actively listen and pivot based on feedback and data. Which reminds me, data-driven decision-making, data-driven insights are an integral part of today's modern leadership, especially in marketing. I say especially in marketing because understanding how to measure success in ways that directly contribute to business growth is key. But in marketing, there are a lot of intangibles. It may appear that success is measured only qualitatively, but it's actually about creating a perception that motivates a buyer to take action. That's essentially what we're doing with marketing. So even with limited resources, you can drive impact by focusing on the key elements that influence behavior, turning those insights into actionable steps that lead to tangible results that you can measure, quantify, and illustrate the value to the business and to the bottom line. This blend of data and insight and strategic action is really critical in today's modern leadership, and it's evolving, every day as we see new technologies on the horizon.
Yeah, great perspectives. Thank you. And if I can draw a commonality between both of what you both said is clearly around empowering women, right? And as I was saying at the beginning, it's also about empowering the next generation, which is young women, right? So if I can ask a question around that, right? If there was one advice you both had for young females in the early years of their careers, one advice, what would it be? Sarah, I'll start with you and then move to Ancila.
Yeah, that's another great question because the business environment is always changing. I mentioned earlier, taking risks and stepping outside of your comfort zone. I believe that's kind of a philosophy that's guided me professionally, personally, it's led me to live, in a number of different countries, which, has made me a more open person and given me some business insights that I wouldn't have otherwise had. But also, importantly, I think finding a balance between your professional and your personal life. This is really, really hard for many women who still shoulder a significant portion of household responsibilities. Personally, I'm a single mother, and I know firsthand how difficult it can be to juggle wanting to be a terrific homemaker and mother and wanting to be, the consummate professional. Statistically, women still take on a disproportionate share of household responsibilities. I read a statistic recently that talked about women take on 70% of primary management of home life in addition to their careers. So it's important to take a balance that works for you individually, understanding that shift and that balance will be constantly changing throughout your life and throughout the responsibilities you have at home. The last piece of advice I would say is don't be afraid of failure. Failure is part of life, and it's probably the single most influential way on developing and learning from your mistakes and moving forward to accelerate positive results, outcome, personal growth. There's a quote that a ski instructor actually shared with me one time. It's, if you're not falling, you're not trying. And if you're not trying, you're not going to improve. And I think that really applies, throughout life. Accept failure as part of the process, part of the learning process. And each misstep is an opportunity to grow, learn, and move forward. Ancila, any thoughts?
That was incredible, Sarah. And I know we talk about this a lot. And my advice would be from my own narrative. I'm a mom of 2 boys, so I feel the responsibility is a lot more for me, bringing up these young men into this world. And what I feel is women often hesitate waiting till they're 100% ready before pursuing any opportunities. But similar to, what Sarah said, growth happens when you step outside your comfort zone. Don't be afraid to take risk. Each challenge is an opportunity to learn and grow. What's really important and what has held me in really good stead is building a strong network of mentors and sponsors who can advocate for you and provide guidance. For me, my team has been my strongest supporter. They sponsor me, they help me. It's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to talk to people. It's okay to share your insights and your learning. And leadership is not always about having the answers. It's about being able to adapt, to learn from experiences, and have courage to lead others through change. And the most important for me is celebrating your wins, big or small. Don't let anyone define your potential, but you make sure that you're celebrating and enjoying every little win you have.
And I could say, Ancila, you're a great help in that respect. Ancila reminds me to celebrate my wins and not worry about some of the surrounding issues. So I appreciate that advice, Ancila.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
Great advice.
Yeah, excellent perspectives. Couldn't agree more. And so let's start with you. Is there one tip, continuing on the giving advice theme, is there one tip that you would give to women about managing their personal finance? And then we can go to you, Sarah. The question I have for you is there one tip that you would give to women about personal branding? Go ahead, Ancila, we can start with you.
Looking forward to hearing that, Sarah. But from my perspective, I believe finance management is all about empowering yourself to make informed and confident decisions. Now, start with a solid plan and stick to it. It's essential to create a roadmap for your financial goals, whether it's saving for the future, paying your debt, managing your children's education, or investing. I think women should and always do think about investing and managing for the future. But with everything I've said and everything I've done, consistency is very important. Automate your savings, investment wherever possible, and always ensure, and we always run this even in our business, always live within your means. Don't commit to anything you can't finish, and make sure that, even when you're thinking of strategy, like we think at work, you're planning. There's a plan involved. There's something that you're working towards, but you're always putting something away. But additionally, it's always important to have your regular reviews, very similar to what we would do at work. Have your regular reviews, have your regular check-ins. Circumstances change, holidays happen, things happen, education, trips. So it's always important to have your long-term goals, but manage it short term. But, one piece of advice that my dad gave me, so, as we talk about mentors and people who help your career, for me, it's been my dad. Because for him, it was always important that his daughters, I have a younger sister as well, were financially independent. So for my dad, it would be completely distressing if he realized I wasn't working or able to support myself. And, I have a loving husband, I have a really good family, but it's really important that women should feel that financial independence. You should always feel that you've built a strong foundation that allows you to achieve your own goals, your own personal success, and then you can thrive on that. Because as a confident female, you can not only manage your home, but a community. So I think investing in yourself, having that financial independence, taking control of the situation is really important, and that drives success and happiness. Sarah?
Great feedback. I want to replay this for a number of people, Ancila. Thank you. From a marketing lens, I would echo in different ways a lot of what Ancila just said, focusing on yourself. Focus on building your own personal brand. There's a saying that a brand is how you get a personal brand is how people describe you when you're not in the room. While we talk a lot about having a LinkedIn presence and online presence, that's certainly important for showcasing your expertise and crucial for building connections both online and offline. But networking, collaborating, finding mentors and individuals that are key to staying connected with industry trends, expanding your professional reach, and expanding your personal growth is critical. Taking care of yourself in that respect. Ultimately, the best way to market yourself, to create your own personal brand, is to consistently deliver on what you've committed to. Live by your goals and your values, and treat people with that same respect. I would say, those are key elements of developing a personal brand that are important to moving forward.
Great
Excellent.
perspectives. Yeah, great perspective.
Love it. Thank you both. Okay, so we're almost towards the end. We wanted to thank you both for joining us today and wish you continued success in your careers. Ancila and Sarah, thank you for sharing your insights and advice for women and girls out there. Here's to a day of celebration that belongs to all those who are committed to forging gender equality. Let's accelerate action for women and girls across the globe. Thank you both.
Thank you so much for having us. This conversation has sparked a lot of great dialogue, and I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Likewise.
Thank you, Ancila. Thank you, Sarah, and thank you, Ranjeeta, for co-moderating. This conversation was not only insightful but very inspiring. Happy International Women's Day to all three of you and to all the women around the globe. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.